Good afternoon. My name is Meghan Bilardo and I work for Tri-C. Actually, I work for Tri-C's corporate college, and that's the revenue generating arm of the college, which is just right around the corner here. And I have the best job at the college. I'm not sure about the best job in the room today. We might have to argue that one out. But I know that I have the best job in the college because I get paid to work with people just like yourself and help them succeed, help their organizations succeed. And so the way that I do that is work with a team of really smart people, and sometimes we deliver workshops to individuals that need to build some skills. Sometimes we offer assessment services. Sometimes we offer coaching. Sometimes it's team building. And in fact, we're doing some really new team building that happens in the kitchen, downtown on Public Square and around the corner here in partnership with our new hospitality management program. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what I know about teamwork and what we've been seeing happen in the kitchen, which is a lot of fun. So what do I know about you? I know we're just meeting for the first time, but Steve did share some information with me. So I know that you are a group of really dedicated and hardworking individuals. I know that you come to this event today because you're looking to grow your business. And you can do that by networking. You can do that by learning some new tips and techniques to help your team. And so what I'm going to do is talk to you about teamwork, and I hope that my comments and ideas will help you no matter if you're the leader of a team or if you're a team member, because we're all going to have to make some decisions about what are we going to do with this information that Meghan shared. Is there anything that I can do as a team member to make my team more effective, right? And if you decide that you pick up one or two good tips today, what I know is true is that when you start to build and really focus on the effectiveness of your team, you're going to see some things happen. You're going to see improved teamwork. You're going to see improved production. You're going to see innovation. You're going to see people wanting to come and work for you. They want to be a part of the exciting things that are happening in your organization. So those are some of the benefits that I hope you'll get out of our conversation today. So the first thing I should do before I move any further is just confirm everyone's in the right meeting, right? You came to the right place. This is what we're, okay, very good. So we're in the right spot, and we're going to talk about teamwork. What I want you to do is I want you to take a nice deep breath. That felt pretty good, didn't it? Let's take another one. Nice deep breath. Forget about the emails that are buzzing on your iPhone. Don't look at your texts. Right? Just put aside that meeting that you have that's this afternoon and give yourself permission to be here right now. And what I'd like you to do is I want you to think about the word team. Okay? I'm going to ask you to think about words that you would use to describe teams, images that come to mind when you think about teams. And in a moment, I'm going to ask you to share some of those with me. Okay? So think about teams. What do they look like? How do they work? Okay. I can see the wheels turning. Hopefully nobody has fallen asleep if you've closed your eyes there. Okay, so this is the first interactive portion of the luncheon. Shout out some things that come to mind when you hear the word team.
Trust.
Trust. I like it.
Strength.
Strength.
Personality.
Different personalities having to come together.
Goals.
Goals.
Reaching the peak.
Ah, reaching the peak. Interesting.
Cohesive.
A cohesive group.
Conflict.
Oh, I like that. Now we're getting real, right? There's some conflict sometimes. There's some conflict. Any other words?
Add on to conflict.
Yes.
Put resolution.
Resolution.
Because in order for them to.
Good. To reach that peak,
Yeah.
you might need to get back together on the same page.
Managed.
How it's managed.
Fun.
Having fun? Good. Yeah, so in general, we would say a team is a group of people. One thing that I didn't hear you guys say is that they often have a common goal. This is what we're working towards. And we've got a common identity. We're proud to be part of this team. We've got a team name, right? We worked hard to get on this team. Sometimes we have fun, sometimes we have conflict. We usually have a leader of the team. But let me ask you this, are all teams created equal? No. You can't just put a group of people together and expect that they're going to produce high, outstanding, best-in-class results. Not all teams win. Unfortunately, we know that sometimes firsthand, right? That our teams don't win. But there are some great teams out there in history. You can think about my alma mater. I went to the University of Kentucky, so I like basketball. So I'm happy to say that we were basketball champions last year, right? You can think about great teams in history. The founding fathers, right? Really, they were a team that came together to build what we now are very proud of and getting ready to elect a new president for. You can think about teams in business, right? The groups that formed Apple, that formed Google or Facebook, they're all teams, right? There's great teams even in the arts. Bill Murray and Chevy Chase worked together, made us all laugh pretty hard. That's a great example of teamwork. And I bet you probably have been involved in some high-performing teams as well. So what I want us to do as a group is I want to identify what makes these teams so much better than others. So what I'm going to ask you to do is think about the best team that you've ever been a part of. And I'm going to ask you to share 3 things about that team with someone else in this room. And so what do I mean by things? What I'm interested in finding out is what are some of the characteristics of the people that were a part of that team? You can think about how was the team structured? Who was the leader of the team? What did you accomplish? Okay? So first, I'll give you a minute. Think about the best team. Could be in work, could be out of work. Could be a sports team, could be at your nonprofit that you volunteer for, could be at your church. Think about the best team that you've ever been a part of. And when I say go, you're going to stand up, you're going to find somebody that's not sitting at your table, and you're going to share with them the team and 3 things that really made that team stand out. And then I'll call time and I'll ask you to sit back down and we'll go through your list. Okay, do you guys have a team in mind? Yeah? Okay, ready, set, go. Get up and find somebody to share 3 things about this team with, please. Okay. Thank you so much for your participation. I appreciate that. So let's learn from each other. And maybe what you found when you were in your pairs or your trios that some of your 3 items were similar than the 3 items that your partner shared. So again, this is the time for some interaction. Shout out, what are some of the things that make these high-performing teams so great? Commitment.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Having different strengths and skill sets.
Okay, some diversity on the team.
Communication.
Communication, and then I hear dedication over here.
Leadership.
Leadership. What is it about the leader?
Well, the leader is the one that has the vision. He knows what he wants to get done, and we all work together to get that done.
Okay, sets the vision or the goal, the target. This is where we're going.
Clear expectations.
Clear expectations. Yep.
So I was impressed with one that was shared with me because her team was her family. And to me, if you can get that together, then you're able to move forward with anything else. So
Right.
I was very impressed that was her.
Gosh darn it.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's a really great point. A lot of what we talk about in our workshops or coachings around this apply to relationships that you have at home. That's an excellent point. Excellent point. And sometimes we put more formal effort into those relationships at the office versus what we do at home, right? Yeah. Good points. So what you guys talked about is exactly what we've learned, what our experience is, and what our research will tell us, is that the best teams out there have certain things in place, and I'm going to describe those for you first, and then I'm going to talk about what they do differently from other groups. So the first thing, when you think about the structure, they have talent. This is why selection is so important. Sometimes you rush to fill an open spot. You get someone that's okay, and then we work to change them. We do that at home sometimes too, don't we? We're gonna work to change you, right? So if you can start up front selecting the best talent on your team, that really is gonna set you apart from other teams out there. So you need talented members and you need talented leaders. You need to have that common purpose. We heard about that. We need to have a vision. We need to know where we're going. What game are we playing, right? What are the rules? What's my role and responsibility here? The third thing is that they have a mechanism in which they hold other people accountable. So think about this, to go back to a sports analogy, this is your scoreboard. We know how we're doing. We know how many points we have. We know who's leading us. We can reward the people that are doing great work, and we can help support the people that are falling down. But we need to have a mechanism to hold people accountable for their results. So what do these best teams do? That's how they're structured. What do they do? If you were to walk in and to observe them, you're going to see them collaborate, right? You're going to see them plan and execute, and that's a huge one. A lot of people love to plan. It's the fun part. Come up with this great idea. It's that darn execution that gets in our way. Now who's going to do this? How are we going to get this done? Right? So there's equal time spent on planning and execution, and that's where that accountability piece becomes so important. They over-communicate. So take your communication plan, and I would argue you need to multiply that by 10. You need to use every channel available to you to communicate. And then they solve problems. They work together to find a way over the obstacle. They don't just complain about the obstacle. Right? They become resourceful when there are no resources for them. They figure out a way to get it done. So I've seen this happen in the kitchen. We're putting together a program, as I said, with our Hospitality Management Center, and we're very lucky to partner with a restaurant called Pura Vida, which is right downtown on Public Square. Chef Brant Evans, he's a fantastic guy. He has Blue Canyon and then Pura Vida downtown. And so I've been able to peek in the kitchen to learn about how does teamwork happen here. And it's really an amazing place to be. And we see a lot of this on Food TV, right? We all love the Food Network. We watch that a lot. And that's really what you're seeing. You're seeing people that understand what the vision is. We've got our recipe. You're seeing people understand their role, right? The person that's answering the phones up the front better not walk back there and start cooking my steak. It's great that you want to collaborate, but you need to know your role and really capitalize on your strengths and let somebody else capitalize on their strengths, right? We see people in the kitchen that don't wait around to be told for something to do. If you've got time to lean, you've got time to clean. I hear that a lot, right? There's always something to keep busy, and so they're finding ways to support each other and jump in there. And so when we put teams in the kitchen for our different culinary team buildings, it's really amazing to see who steps up as a leader. How do they overcome obstacles? How do they work together when we've got to make a pizza, when we've got to bake some cookies or get something out on the customer's plate right away? And so it's been a fascinating experience. And I put some brochures out for you to see more about that if you're interested. So when do you need to build a team? A lot of people ask me that. When do I know when team building should happen? And what is the best team building activity for me? What I hope you walk away with today is understanding that team building is not really an activity, but it's an ongoing process. A team really takes on a life of its own. And I'd like you to think about your teams like you think about your employees. You've got to nurture them. You've got to support them. You've got to spend time with them. Teamwork doesn't just happen. right? We can't just put you as a group and say, okay, now you're a team. Here's a name and some jerseys. It takes deliberate action to figure out how they're going to work together. Who's the leader? What are the roles? Etc. So depending on how long your team's been together, depending on the makeup of your team, do you have some new people coming in? Do you have some turnover? Do you have some big changes that are coming down the road? All of those things are cues for we might need to work to improve the effectiveness of our team, and you might call that team building, right? So I would argue that you should really take the time to think about what is my team struggling with, or what opportunities does my team have, and then put together an activity to help support that. So some things to think about. If you're finding that your team is a brand new group, you might want to put together a team charter. And that could be a team building activity where you sit down, and you can find them on the web pretty easily, and you fill them out together. What are our roles? What are our missions? How are we going to celebrate? When are we going to celebrate? And you do that as a group around a flip chart. And then you post it someplace and you talk about it regularly. And you change it when it needs to be changed. Or maybe you're seeing that your team is being faced with some new problems, and you're trying to figure out how you can help support them. First thing I'd argue is teach them a problem-solving method so that you're all using the same steps. Here's the 5 steps to problem solving that we're going to use. And then give them a fun problem. So a fun problem in my world would be, hey, let's get together and build some bikes, and we're going to donate them to this local organization. That's a challenging thing to do. I know it's not a lot of fun to do when you're doing it alone, but if it's a team project and you've got a problem-solving model to use, it's outside of the office, and people will learn and apply that skill so that they can do it back in the office the next time a problem comes up. Or we do that in the kitchen, where we have a team working on something, and then I take away their chopper, the person that's chopping. Or I tell the person that is considered the chef, that's manning things on the grill, that he or she is not allowed to talk to anybody else on the team for the next 10 minutes. So I put little problems in there for them, and those are real problems that happen in the office. People don't communicate. They won't return my email, they won't return my call, but I still have to deliver this project. So what are you going to do about that? People leave your team. You get somebody pulled off your team. You still have to move forward. What are you going to do about that? So again, we give them some problems, and you can do that too as a way to build the team, and then you have to have a conversation afterwards. How did we handle that problem? What went well and what didn't go so well? And apply it back to the job. I'll share one more idea with you around communication. If your team is struggling with communication, a great activity that you can do is called Write It, Do It. So what you would do is you'd set up some sort of model in a room. You have somebody come in and write down exactly what they see. And then they go to a partner that's outside of the room and say, this is what I saw. Here are the materials, rebuild it. And let's see how well they communicate back and forth to describe that picture of what that model looks like to rebuild it. So it's just ways to practice skills that are important on the job, but you put them in a different context. Okay? So those are some team building activities that you might be able to do, or obviously other organizations can help you do that if you need it. The last thing that I wanted to share with you are some misconceptions about teamwork. It's a great buzzword, and people like to talk about it a lot and hope that they can build effective teams, but there are some things that we should know. The first thing is that harmony is not always the best thing for a team. And you brought that up right away. Is it Carl? Carl brought that up right from the start. Some conflict. Conflict can be good, right, if it's managed productively. Because think about this, if you're sitting around the table and everyone's saying, yep, 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 good idea, on board, every single idea, you're not leveraging that diversity that you talked about before, right? We need to have somebody disagree from time to time. We need to really explore all the possibilities and push the limits of what we're capable of, and that can happen through conflict. The other thing I would argue is that sometimes with teams we think the bigger is better. But I'll tell you that it gets really difficult to operate as a team once you get past about the 10-person mark. And a couple things happen that I know you guys will recognize. You've got some free riders, some people grinning around the room. When the team gets really big, it's easy for people to hide, and that accountability piece kind of goes out the window. It's really hard to have everyone come to consensus the larger the team can get. So if you are forced to work with a large group, we would suggest to you, try to break it down. Try to get it into smaller subcommittees to help you move items forward. The last misconception that I want to share with you is that it all depends on the leader, right? That we need to have a charismatic, dynamic leader in there, and they'll be able to turn everything around. Now, while the leader is very important, the best thing that they can do is really create an environment that supports people and how they work together, right? So an environment that allows people to collaborate, that rewards people when they succeed, that helps people when they're struggling. That's the best thing that a leader can really do. They aren't the ones necessarily that can produce, nor should they take credit for all of the results of the team. So what I wanted to wrap up with you today is to just say that team building, again, takes some time and dedicated effort. There's things that you can do on your own. There's things that outside organizations can help you with. And I hope you have one or two ideas that you can apply today that might be able to help you become that high-performing team that you were once a part of in the past. So thank you again for your time. I appreciate your participation, and I hope that I get the opportunity to work with you over at Corporate College really soon. Thank you.